أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. My brothers and sisters in Islam, I welcome you all this morning to our regular lectures. Today, we're supposed to be discussing Ramadan, a month of restoration. And as we all know, today is the last day of our lecture, this 2022 Ramadan. We're supposed to have Imam Shamsu Ali. Unfortunately, I just got a message from him that he has a severe cough and fever since last night. And it's understandable because of the volume of stress. Most imams worldwide praying Taraweeh, praying Tahajjud, praying 5 daily prayers with the fasting, so many activities in the masjid. And so it's possible that people get weird and worn out. Unfortunately, we are not able to have him this morning. So based on that, the discussion, instead of adjourning it, we're already here. We are going to have like kind of interaction and interactive and discuss generally about things that we want to remind ourselves from the past. As we are all aware, the month of Ramadan came in, and Alhamdulillah, we give thanks to Allah for making us among those estimated 1.7 billion Muslims worldwide that started this fasting this year. Alhamdulillah, again, we give praise and thanks to Allah for making us here today. Most likely, we are going to witness the end of the Ramadan 2022. It's not ended yet, anything can happen. But we pray that the rest of us here, we should be able to see the end of it. Ramadan is a month of barakah. Ramadan is a month of blessings. Ramadan is a month that comes with a lot of beautiful atmosphere, beautiful activities. It's a month that disciplines us. Just like Allah said in the Quran, fasting has been prescribed to those before you, and it is meant for us to have the taqwa, the fear of Allah, to remember the fear of Allah. So Alhamdulillah, I'm sure every Muslim globally, every serious Muslim, and I believe every Muslim is serious, has enjoyed and is still enjoying this blessed month, performing good deeds, praying 5 times in a day, attending the Taraweeh, doing the Tahajjud, reading the recitation of the Quran. By now, most of us are about to finish the entire Quran, and so many good deeds, giving the sadaqah and the rest of things. At the same time, just to remind you, Zakatul Fitr, we're supposed to give out the Zakatul Fitr before the Eid. It's not on the day, in the day of the Eid. One of the aim of Zakatul Fitr is for those who are not able, have the fund or have the money, and prepare for the Eid, just like me and you, that Alhamdulillah, Allah has given the ability to do it. But if you give the Zakatul Fitr on the Eid day or after the Eid, it will become a sadaqah, because it's the aim of it Islamically, in my understanding, is defeated. So please, if you have not done it, and if you want to do it, remember to give the Zakatul Fitr anytime from now before the Eid. So Alhamdulillah, we're here. We caution ourselves, we discipline ourselves. Some thought it's not going to be funny, some thought it's not going to be easy. We come to the Ramadan, it's long hours, and very sympathetic for those in part of where I come from in Nigeria. It was really severe because of the temperature, the weather. It was hard. People were burying themselves inside sand just to get some cold. The people suffered. However, when I communicated, I told them they may find out that they will get more barakah than me, who is here in the United States, enjoying the fasting, even though longer hours, but good weather, good iftar. Somebody is there fasting, not only the weather, the temperature, but he's also suffering about the heat of the economy. He's suffering about the heat of the insecurity. He's suffering so many psychological issues, yet they are fasting. They have to do it. We here, Alhamdulillah, we don't have those challenges apart from happiness and meeting people. But the beauty of Islam, even in their own condition there, they have no excuse. Nobody have excuse. Inshallah, Allah will just reward them accordingly. So we thank Allah for giving us this opportunity that we were able to fast up to this period of time. We were able to caution ourselves. We were able to humble ourselves. We were able to do all these things for the past 28 days or 27 days. My brothers and sisters, we can maintain it. We are coming out of the Ramadan. It's not a ticket. It shouldn't be that we should now go back to the activity we've been doing, which are not good again. I know some people used to say, which I don't want to believe that because there's no eye about that if you see yourself, you Hajj. If you see yourself after the month of Ramadan, doing bad thing again, doing what you are not doing again, meaning Allah didn't accept that your deed. Well, I don't think Imam Karim can help me on that. I don't think there's any ayah that say that. The Prophet never said that. But it is just probably a way of saying to scare us, to make people understand that, listen, once you are out, you stop some of things that you think inappropriate, or let me use the word, you discipline yourself more, you increase your taqwa, you increase your worship, you increase your obedience to Allah, you increase your activities positively towards Allah, you can as well maintain it and continue that way. You shouldn't drop down to probably a Muslim of only month of Ramadan. A Muslim that goes to mosque during the month of Ramadan alone, after the month of Ramadan, it is over. No. If you can do that, if you can stop whatever you are doing before, you can as well continue doing it now. It's something that it's not something I need to talk about it, but just about 2 weeks before the month of Ramadan, I fasted kafara for 60 days. Because I don't know if I share with you, I had an incident that a child died during an accident long time ago, and I have asked those questions from those of you who are learned. I gave sadaqah, but then I was told, if a life is lost, you have to fast. I fasted for 60 days non-stop, just 2 weeks before the month of Ramadan. And I fasted for the month of Ramadan till today. So I have told myself, and I've been telling people, if I can do that, meaning good 3 months, 90 days, 3 months I've been fasting, I can do it for 6 months. And I can do it for the entire of my life. So if we can do that, we can do it. We shouldn't feel like it's hard. We shouldn't feel like it's like, hey, if somebody would tell me that I have done even that fasting, it's kind of funny for me. If I found it like, did I really do it? But I did it, and alhamdulillah, I survived it. And wallahi, I'm feeling a big relief from my head, a big relief that I've dropped. Whether the fasting has been accepted by Allah or not, whether Allah has forgiven me or not, but the fact that I did from my heart with my intention, I made it and I asked Allah to forgive me for that, I am feeling a big relief in me. So no matter Ramadan, we are in it, we have tried our best, and so we should be able to continue. There's nothing give you happiness, there's nothing give you fulfillment like seeing yourself worshiping Allah. There's nothing give you confidence like seeing yourself having good relationship with your Lord, like seeing yourself with your faith. You are demonstrating your faith. You are doing the right thing. It gives some kind of deep fulfillment. I believe everybody feels the same way, because we know that, yes, you are preparing yourself to face your Lord, your Creator, Allah. So this Ramadan is now going out, and at the beginning here we said it. You should look at the Ramadan. You should look at the Ramadan as if it is the last Ramadan in your life. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, a Muslim, take this dunya as if you will never die. Meaning, look for dunya as if you know that. At the same time, the Prophet said, stay in this dunya. If you see morning, then assume you are not going to see night. Meaning, assume in the next 1 minute, you are going to die. Assume the Malik al-Maut is right there waiting for you. He said the most intelligent person among us is he who always think and prepare for death. How do you think and prepare for death? Preparation for death is not going to buy the cover, buy the burial, buy this, writing your will. That's not the preparation. The preparation for death is your taqwa, is your deen, it's your fear of Allah, it's your response, it's your worshiping Allah, your ibadah, your activities, what you do on daily basis. You can assume, it's just like exam. If you enter an exam hall and come out, a good student, a sincere student can be able to say, this exam, I will score 70 over 100. This exam, I will score 10 over 100. A sincere student. Anybody who said, after examination, you come out and say, I'm going to win, score 100 over 100, and then the result come out, oh, the professor hate me. Scott, no, you know what you wrote and you know what it will come out of it. Yes, there may be not exact point. So the same thing we did. If you are the righteous thing, if you are doing the right thing, even though we don't get the feedback of our performance, of our activity, of our worship before Allah, but based on the Prophet's message to us, based on what Allah said to us, Allah will not lie to us. Allah is our creator. He said it and he will not change his mind. He said it and he will not do it. He's the one that said, if you do 1, 2, 3, I will give you 1, 2, 3. So there's no way Allah will change. And as a Muslim, one of the most beautiful action from us is having that confidence and believing in Allah. When you're doing dua to Allah, you will do one of the requirements. You should do it with the confidence that your dua is going to be accepted. Because once you are having doubt in it, so Allah himself might not accept it. So when you're giving dua, when you're worshiping Allah, you worship Allah with full confidence that yes, my dua, my worship, my activity, my deed is going to be accepted and will be rewarded by Allah. So I will not take much of our time to talk. It's like I said, it's interactive. Anybody, we're just going to talk generally about whatever we feel like to share among ourselves, because we didn't want to just waste the time. So Imam Karim, probably you will help us to.
Okay, I raise my hand so that I can talk.
Nah.
I think during Ramadan, we read the Quran in order to understand, not to read it, not like a newspaper. You have to go to the heart of it. And there is a verse that really catches my attention all the time. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. إن في خلق السماوات والأرض واختلاف الليل والنهار لآيات لأولي الألباب. Who are أولي الألباب? Those who think very deep, to look at the essence of every ayah. الذين يذكر, those أولي الألباب, and he defines them. الذين, those who يذكرون الله قياما وقعودا وعلى جنوبهم. You think of God when you're standing up, when you're sitting, when you're lying down. ويتفكرون في خلق السماوات, and they ponder. تفكر is to ponder, to consider deeply. في خلق السماء ربنا ما خلقت هذا باطلا. We have not created this thing in vain. So before we talk about the creation of the universe, by the way, in Arabic, the word universe is al-kawn. Al-kawn from the verb kun fayakun, be. So it's the being, al-kawn. That's why this language is very spiritual language. Let's think about ourselves. Whereas in the Judeo-Christian traditions, they say man is created to the image of God. In Islam, God has no image. But we have the spirit of God in us. We have this ruh. This is when Jibreel comes and kind of blows the spirit into the fetus in his mother's womb or her mother's womb. They become a human being. So we have the spirit of God in us. Based on that, Islam considers us as three-dimensional. It's not two-dimensional like the other, but they have, the spirit and the body. No, we have three things. We have al-jasad, we have al-ruh, we have al-nafs. Kullu nafsin dha'iqatul maut. That's not the ruh. So when we die, if I am right in my thinking, it's from God. If I'm wrong, may God forgive me. When we die, our spirit leaves us. That's the energy that keeps our body active. And then what kind of spirit is this? God answered it. يسألونك عن الروح قل علمها عند ربي وما أوتيتم من العلم. They ask you about the soul. Tell them it is God's knowledge. You have been given little knowledge. So what are we? We are a body. We are a nafs. And nafs means self. You see, psychology, nafs is the psyche. We have a body, we have our psyche, and we have our soul. Our body, we take good care of it. So we are, as a human being, we're like a tripod. Tripod, as an engineer, is the most stable structure because it's at three legs. When you want to do any survey or look at the moon or anything, it's on a tripod because it doesn't change. It's not. So what happened here in this case? We have three legs of this tripod. We have our body, we have our self, and we have our soul. Our soul we can control. Where the body and self, we talk about that. The body, we have really taken care of it. Right now, we have our yearly exam, we have all kind of medicine, all kind of surgery. So our body is very strong. This leg is very strong. Our self, knowledge is available to us. You go on Google and you can find out that anything you want to do. In fact, our body is so good, it's living beyond our expected life. We are really bankrupting Social Security because they cannot keep up with us. And our knowledge is very, very rich. So we can have anything. We don't have to open any book. Google something and find out about it. The third leg, our spirituality, is getting weaker. So we're on a tripod that had two legs very strong, one leg very weak. And God, who knows the future, said, you know, this leg that is weak, I'm going to strengthen it. Every year, with 1 month of fasting, or you forget about your body, you forget about seeking knowledge, uh, material knowledge, and you're going to really concentrate on yourself, on understanding life. So this is the time where we can become, at the end of Ramadan, stable people, accepting everything. Like when somebody tell you, it's my body, I can do whatever I want. No, it is not your body. That's a false premise. It belongs to us. If it's your body, you can keep it forever. No, we are trustees of our body, of everything on earth, trustee of our body. That's why the Prophet said, your body has some rights over you. If you abuse your body through drinking, through vaping, through drugs, whatever, you are accountable and your body will testify against you. Your hand will say, because on the day of judgment, your brain does not control your jawarih anymore, your bodies anymore. It does not. They speak on their own. Then we say, God, you created me so I can help people. His psyche ordered me to kill, to steal. The tongue will say, I was supposed to praise you. Sabbih bihamdik. His brain, his will, or whatever, his nafs, ordered me to say ugly things, to speak unkind words, to curse, to whatever, and they will testify against him. Your foot will say, "You are helping me. I was supposed to take him to the mosque. He was going to the to buy spirits and to buy alcohol or to buy drugs, or he would use your foot to kick people, whatever." So what we do is that in this month we improve our psyche. Very important. Our psyche means not only we read the Quran, but we understand it. We ponder about it. يتفكر. We think about it. We strengthen ourselves. Now here is the catch. Most people say, thank God, Ramadan is gone. I can smoke. Now I can have my coffee whenever I want. I can do whatever I want. I don't have to pray as much. Wrong. This is wrong. Because what God has given us, like we do every year, a physical exam to see what's wrong with you. Every year you have to take care of your psyche. And once you improve your psyche, you keep it during the whole year so that next Ramadan you improve on it. By the time of your death, you are a different person. So we have two types of Sawm. And we talked about Sawm and Siyam, and I said it before. But there is Sawm al-Ada wa Sawm al-Ibadah. There is the fasting of of worship and the fasting of daily life, of program. I do everything I have to do except that I pray and I don't eat. And then when somebody passes me over on the highway, I start cursing them, say, you're so and so and so. This is not Ramadan. Ramadan is being better, a better person, a more charitable person, a more pious person, a more thoughtful person, a more merciful person. And mercy is not selective. Now we are seeing with the Ukrainian crisis how the mercy of the West is so selective. We have a lot of problems all over the world, in Africa and Asia and the Middle East, everywhere. Now we concentrate on Europe only. And this is not what Muslims should do. We should really, really be aware that this is a month of opportunity. This is like a spiritual sale. When you have a sale, you go to the mall and say, there is a sale, 20% off. Well, this is a time where God will forgive you. And there is a hadith from God. He said, if you come to me with the sins that weigh as much as the earth, as much as the sand on the earth, my mercy is more, weights more than the sand of the earth. Come to me and I will forgive you. Ask my forgiveness, I will forgive you. سبقت رحمتي غضبي. My mercy always trumps my anger. So what we have to do is just take advantage of this thing, improve ourselves, be more stable as a human being, so that our leg, our spiritual leg, is stronger, and keep it this way. We don't fall back. This is a psalm of ibadah, of worship. وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْإِنسَ وَالْجِنَّ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ. And this habits that we really acquire during Ramadan, we should keep them. So that next month we can do a better Ramadan. But at our death, we are different from the time we were teenagers until the time where the angel of death comes and take the trust and bring it back to God, the nafs. And really, I believe in the torture in the grave. I believe in the suffering in the grave. This is, they have a lot of sayings from the Prophet that confirms it. So we don't want to suffer in our grave. Some people tell me, we're going to invest in this and do this, do that. I said, no. I want to invest in having insurance not to suffer in the grave, not insurance for life or for health, not to suffer in the grave, to meet my Creator as obedient as He wanted me to be. We are Muslims, we surrender to God. And this is what Ramadan is all about. So, of course, we have Eid, we celebrate Eid. Let's not ignore what we have acquired spiritually in Ramadan. The good manners of praying on time, the good manners of having mercy over the poor and over the sick, the good manners of feeling closer to our relatives, the good manners uh, of when people do you bad, you do them good. You always say, take the high road, say, Allahumma inni sa'an. The good man is not getting angry, of controlling our temper, of controlling our anger, a lot of these things. Then we can be a role model. We try to be a role model. So look at us. Oh, look at this line. Why I do like this? Because I'm Muslim. Because I'm Muslim. And you know what? When the Prophet is being attacked in the press in the West, in the press in the world, I remember of one ayah that said, يُرِيدُونَ أَنْ يُطْفِئُوا نُورَ اللَّهِ بِأَفْوَاهِهِمْ. They want to extinguish the light of God with their mouth. Their mouth, that's through the press. وَاللَّهُ مُتَمِّمٌ نُورَهُ وَلَوْ كَرِهَ الْكَافِرُونَ. And God will complete His light, even if they hate, the kafirin would hate it. One more thing that I would like to add also is that when the Prophet is attacked, I remember a verse in the Quran, وَإِنَّكَ لَعَلَى خُلُقٍ عَظِيمٍ. You have the best, the greatest manners. So what do? We don't go into a rage of, well, our eyes are sticking out of our face, and our nerves in our neck are showing up, and we show our anger. No. When they attack the Prophet, what we can do is that write a little booklet about his qualities, his manners, translate it in every language, and give it free to the world. This is what those people who are rich, those countries that are rich, that have a lot of old revenues, should do with their money. But we recommend to them, we don't bully anybody. We softly advise people what they can do. And we have to be as kind as the Prophet. He was so kind. He never raised his voice. He never got angry. He was always giving. He was always serving. We imitate him, not in the way we dress with yellow shoes and the length of our beard and the color of our robe or what have you. We imitate him with our behavior, with our conduct, with our spirituality. He would stay all night, and in the morning he would go to his room. And Aisha radiallahu anha would say, your feet are swollen. Why do you do that? And what would he say? أَفَلَا أَكُونُ عَبْدًا شَكُورًا. Can't I be a grateful servant of God. May God accept our prayer. May God unite the Muslims. You know, we talk about colonialism, hate of Islam. We have nobody but us to blame. لا يغير الله ما بقوم حتى يغيروا ما بأنفسهم. Begin with ourselves. Let's change. Let's change. Let's create this unity of the Muslim. 1.3 billion people. They could do miracles if they are united. Miracles. But unfortunately, we are really tempted by the attraction of this life that God divided. Is the pleasure of vanity. I have this, that's vanity. And lahwan wa la'ib, it is just an entertainment and a game. And let's hope that during the month of Ramadan, those series that we're watching every day, we skip them. Because those people are stealing for us. I cannot see a Muslim TV station for the month of Ramadan who have those programs for you. And they have a lot of programs to entertain. And between the programs, they have advertisement about cigarettes and alcohol and what have you. No, 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 no. I want to pray. I want to thank my God. I want to worship my God. I want to keep close to my God. To do Qiyam al-Layl. I may be tired the next morning. That's okay. It's okay. If my health gets a little bit weaker and my spirituality get a little bit stronger, I'm achieving some kind of stability in my being as a human being. So this is the time when God is giving us a chance to come stable again.
Shukran Jazira. Thank you so much, Imam Kari. Really appreciate it with your very vast knowledge and experience. MB Umar. Brother Umar.
He has to unmute himself.
MB Umar.
My brother Adib, I think it really laid out what our party should be, and I'm really happy that the knowledge he has shared with us in terms of describing our life, standing on the tripod, and that while we have control of one or two of the tripod, the other one will depend on Allah's mercy on us and His rahmah to carry us along. So I truly appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. The thing is, I just want to bring this up. I don't know if I've shared it before, but I will say it again. Okay, Brother Zakaria, Bismillah.
Yeah, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Yeah, thank you so much. I mean, just in the spirit of Ramadan and the spirit of the fact that, inshallah, we've all benefited from this holy month. Yeah, I know we've discussed it maybe because sometimes ago. This is something that's always reflect over and over and again, especially for some of us that we are in this part of the world, US, European, and where we are engaged in one form of riba. I want to talk about riba now.
No.
Because this is a month of reflection, you know. You're going to reflect over our life. I mean, it's like, what else can I improve in my life? I mean, that's a question I always ask myself. And my mind always goes to the issue of riba. And riba comes in several ways. As you know, most of us in this part of the world, we have mortgage, we have credit cards, we have all these type of things. And if there's one area of our life that Allah specifically mentioned, is the issue of riba. Don't move close. Don't move close. Each time I hear or I read or I listen to the issue of riba, I get uncomfortable. So now the question is, I want to learn from the others, how do we survive with this in this part of the world, not to be engulfed in this riba issue? Specifically, let's talk about mortgage. I'm sure most of us where we are staying, maybe I have one, let me confess. We have mortgage banks, and of course, all of us know that this is part of riba. So just a general advice, actually. How do we get out of it? How do we manage it? How do we make sure that we obey this commandment of Allah? So maybe some of us, the learned ones among us, can just share the experience, and then for me, it will be of benefit to me, because it's something I really reflect over every day of my life. So
Yes.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Imam Karim, can you help us with that? He's talking about, I don't know if you heard it very well. He's talking about, basically, let me go straight to it. We are living in a society that believe in capitalist society. Everything has to be with interest. If you have the cash or the money at hand, some areas, some certain things, they will not, the system will not allow you to acquire it like that, because the system is made for them to make profit from you. So there's issue of riba, there's issue of mortgage, there's issue of credit card, which attract interest. And as a Muslim, those things are actually questionable, discouraged, if not haram in Islam. How do we deal with this, knowing fully well that we are living here and we are faced with those challenges?
I tell you how
Before Imam Karim comes in,
okay.
and probably just even to complicate the whole situation, you have setups coming up in the name of Islam, and are trying to profile some kind of options that people could use. But if you critically look at them, they are no different from the mortgage system that exists.
Exactly.
It's just change of name. And they are even less reliable, because then you share the ownership of your property with them. So it's less of a solution than reality. And when I attended one of those sessions by someone who was talking about halal mortgage or something like that. And by the end, you are paying the same thing as you are paying in the Western kind of mortgage. And not only that, you are even sharing the property. So if the value increases, you are sharing with them. Whatever, you are sharing with them. So it is actually, at the end of that session, I was just saying that Allah is just really very kind with us, because people come in all forms and shapes and try to confuse people as much as they can, and in the name of Allah's, in the name of the religion, either as a halal kind of setup, when actually the thinking behind that is completely something that is that can easily be discerned as not completely open, so to say. Assalam.
I had experience with them, and I have to argue with them that, oh, they are going to offer me this Islamic bank, this and this, and I ask them, how is it? So in their interpretation, at the end of the day, I mean, I proved them they were wrong, because they, in their own interpretation, that it is accepted in Islam when somebody offers you a financial help at the time of your need, that is the help, that the profit that you are paying, it is accepted in Islam. And I told them no. I said no. What, in my understanding, what Sharia says is that if today I want to buy a house, and this house costs $100,000, yes, I don't have the money. Yes, you want to finance it for me. The only thing you can do for me is this house is $100,000. Okay, we are going to buy this house for you, $100,000, but we are selling it to you $110,000. The $10,000 is our profit. So you are only paying $110,000. That is it. There's no any interest. Anything to do with, okay, if you give me 100,000, I will pay in 30 years. At the end of 30 years, every disinterest is haram. It's contrary to Sharia. But if you borrow money and I will pay you back what you have given me, or you are telling me it's accepted that you say, oh, this car, I'm selling this car for you. This car costs 1,000, but I'm selling for you 1,002. So pay me 1,002 in 12 months, no interest. And the guy will say, oh, okay, yeah, you know, but we have to. I said, no. Don't hide under religion. Don't hide under Islam to deceive people and try to share. It's a Sharia bank, it's a this and that, non-profit, non-interest. No. Because you just turn it around, at the end of the day, you find yourself the same thing with any other bank. But Imam Karim, maybe to help Zakaria, because you know better than us.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. This is a very tough question, and everybody has to find a solution for himself or herself. There is no standard answer for this question. It depends on the situation, because we are living not in a capitalistic society. It's a predatory capitalism, predatory, that you are a victim of it. What God is saying, He said, do not charge riba. Do not charge riba. Those who charge riba, they'll eat fire in their stomach and what have you. When you are the victim of riba and you have no choice, it's like somebody put a gun to your head and say, drink this alcohol, or either I'll kill you. God said, you take a sip, but don't go over it. Okay, so if I have to buy a house and I have to pay interest for it, what you call mortgage, and the alternative is to pay rent and rent and rent without getting any tax relief or something like that. When I have no choice, I am forced to do that. I am in this country. I am this country because I left my country because there is over there in my country, there are corruption. It's not safe. And whatever I do here, it's on their conscience, not on my conscience. I have to buy a house, and then whenever I have money, I will pay the capital. I will pay the capital. Now, as far as credit cards, there are credit cards that charge no interest like for 18 months, will charge you no interest. Okay. Now, if you have a credit card, and at the end of your cycle, you pay the whole thing. You don't pay any interest. Now, if they say you can have, like Home Depot said, you can buy anything for 6 months, no interest. But if after 6 months you don't pay the minimum, we're going to charge you back interest. You have to be aware of that. I have credit cards. I never paid interest on them. Never paid. The one that charged me interest, I cancel it. You cannot establish a credit in this country without borrowing money. They will look at you and say, you have no credit. They say, what is your credit score? Is it 400? It's zero. You have no credit score. You're not even, it's a predatory system. Let me tell you a story here that will explain to you this system that we have. A banker, and this is a parable. Like they do in the Quran, they give you parable to make you understand things. A banker goes to a hotel and says, I want to rent a room in your hotel. But before I do that, I want to inspect all rooms to see which is the best one. It might make 2 days. And I'm putting $100 deposit. The owner of the hotel said, great. He runs to the supermarket because he bought from them some food for the restaurant of the hotel. I owe $100, I give it to you. Now, the owner of the supermarket, he buys the meat from a wholesale. He goes to the meat wholesale. I owe $100. I'm paying it. Wonderful. Then the wholesale guy who is selling the meat, he goes to the truck driver because he sends his meat. He delivers for a truck. Say, $100. I'm going to pay you back. Thank you so much, sir. The driver goes to the hotel where he usually stays the night over or spend the night when he's driving. And he said, I go to the owner of the hotel $100. Here's your $100. Then the banker comes down and he said, I don't like your hotel. Give me back my $100. He got back his $100. What have we achieved? Nobody has any debt. It's policy. It's when they tell you have money. It's a piece of paper. It's a piece of paper. This is not the way it should be. What we have to do is barter. You know, when they say, I cannot allow you to go with the SWIFT system. You cannot do anything. I can do a lot of things. I can trade wheat for cotton for clothes for industry. I can do a lot of things. No, we're going by the dollar, everything. Why was Saddam Hussein overthrown? Because he tried to sell oil outside of the dollar market. So it's predatory capitalism. And when the World Bank comes and said, I want to give this country money, this money has been stolen from Africa. How much did Britain take out of India before they left? So we are dealing with a very, very, very unjust world, and we're trying to navigate our way through all these waves that are as high as mountains. And we try to keep ourselves, we have to minimize the damage, but being in this world. And when you mentioned about that in Nigeria and people are having heat, the heat they have right now is not the heat they had during the days of the Prophet. They used to take 3 months to reach Hajj in the heat. It was a different heat. It was a kind of heat. It was not a heat due to pollution. Right now we have pollution. We never had rain as harsh as it is. You know, the water, when it comes very harsh, it destroys. It goes, when you have a dam that breaks, it's destructive. When the water comes down kindly, with the mercy of God, it softens the atmosphere. So everything is from our own hands. And what we have to understand, لا يكلف الله نفسا إلا وسعها. God doesn't ask you more than you can do. You cannot fix the whole system. You can do the best. You minimize your losses, your spiritual losses. You cannot sit on the margin of this and you suffer. You may as well leave this country and go back to your country. I mean, this is it. There is no special answer for that, like do this and do that. No. To me, when I put my money in the bank and I get interest from it, now I could tell the bank I don't want any interest. You go to the bank, who's a predatory organization. I take it and give it to the poor. On top of whatever I have to do as far as zakat and what have you, I will give it to the poor. Now, I have earned it in unacceptable Islamically. أتبع السيئة الحسنة تمحوها. When do something bad, follow it with something good. And they will work. You don't get any credit for giving this money to the poor. You don't get any harm also. This is what I do in order to really not to go crazy and think oh my God, what do I do and what have you? I'm always worried. No. God is forgiving. God is understanding. God is loving. And you know what? This world, we are supposed to suffer in it. It's not a trip. It's not a picnic. And the proof of it, show me a baby doesn't come to this world without crying. They all come in crying. They know. It's in their thing, they cry. Because this world of them, they say, somebody tells me, why do we have a world where we have babies that are killed and we have people that are born with cancer and everything? I said, why don't we have a world that is perfect? I said, it is there. You have to earn it. It's the afterlife. It is there. Search, fetch it, and pay the price for it. And you have to suffer, so be it. For how long do you suffer? 60 years, 80 years, 100 years? What? Be patient. Sabran jamila. This is when you have this kind of spiritual equilibrium or psychological equilibrium, that when everything goes bad in your life, you will never think of committing suicide as a Muslim. A lot of people, look at this, look at this, the problem that the US have with its military troops is the number of suicides that the soldiers are doing. They don't advertise that. You can Google say how many soldiers are kill themselves every day. It's a pandemic. They don't recognize it. You know, we say when you look at the problem of Ukraine, you say everybody is losing on both sides. No, there is a side that is winning. The military industry is winning a lot of money. And Eisenhower in 1956, when he left, he said, beware of the military industrial organizations. So we have to understand that. We have to know that we are living in a non-perfect world, but we can do the best we can. And God will reward us on how we can find solutions to navigate through these waves that are as high as mountains.
Alhamdulillah. Thank you, Imam Karim. Brother Zakaria, like what Imam Karim said, is actually a very sensitive or very, how will I put it, a tough question or concern that those of us living in this part of the world are facing. Yes, if you look at it, if you go by the Sharia, riba is against Islam. Now, if you go by the environment where we are living again, we find ourselves in a system where, like Imam said, you cannot do without credit. Joe Biden, the United States president today, in fact, Bill Gates, the richest man in the world, he have a credit card. It's not that he doesn't have the money, but it is a system that designed it that way. that you must get that, because if he doesn't have the credit card, he may not have the credit score. And without a credit score, he may not be able to carry out his businesses in some places. That is a system. Now the question is that an excuse in Islam? Yes, no. Are you forced to stay here? Yes, no. This is a confusion. This is what is putting us in dilemma. But as time goes on, we'll keep finding our solution. You know, every day we're getting fatwa, every day we're getting answers to some of these critical things. Every day, may Allah just forgive us. But sincerely speaking, it's a very hard issue. It's a very hard discussion. But within yourself as a Muslim, there's a way again you can be able to minimize getting involved in these things. Minimize in the sense that, of course, we don't have that buoyant. We're all government workers, salary earners, that you can just go over and just buy a house like that. It's still challenging. It's challenging. But anyone that you can be able to avoid, anything that you can be able to avoid, you can avoid it. Allah knows the intention. And as time goes on, we get the solutions. And if the better answer comes, if you mean relocating from here to Sambisa, I have to. If that's what will make me gain access to Al-Jannah. Because the bottom line is your relationship with Allah. You don't just sit down and live on assumption or just give it up just because the system allows it again, and then you forget you are going to meet Allah. If Allah didn't give us that as an excuse, and if the Prophet didn't waive that for us, we have no choice than to take the decision, because first, the Sharia comes first. What the Prophet says first, what Allah says comes first, not what the environment says first. So it's a challenging, it's really big thing. One thing I just want to remind all of us here is, and this is my principle, once I keep telling people, once you pass the age of 40, start thinking about leaving this dunya behind you. What do I mean? From 0 to 18, you are struggling in school. You want to acquire knowledge. You want to acquire career. You are thinking of what do you want to be in your life. You finish your college. You have obtained the education. The next thing, you want a job. You got job. What do you want job for? You want to feed it. You want to have a house. You want to have a job, have an earning. You want to demonstrate the skills you learn in the college. After getting job, the next thing is you want to get a wife. After getting a wife, okay, you need a house. You need a car. All these things is to aid your living here in dunya. And as if things go well, up to the age of 35, 40, you should be able to achieve all these things, alhamdulillah, to have keys, to have a house, to have a wife, to have a car, to have the qualification. If you are to PhD level, at least before the age of 40, one can be able to obtain it if the road is going straight without any obstacle around the way. You should be able to obtain up to a PhD. You should be able to have at least one wife. You should be able to have the number of kids Allah has blessed you with. So once you reach age 40, from 40 beyond, as far as I am concerned, start looking at putting this dunya behind you and face Allah. I'm not saying from 0 to 40, you don't think about Allah. No, of course you do. But the emphasis, you worship, you say a prayer, you do the fast and everything, you do the 5 pillars of Islam, you do them correctly, you do them accordingly. But again, your emphasis and effort is here, which is acceptable, is understandable, you need to survive. But it is somehow, to me, unwise from the age of 40, you are struggling, you are eating riba, you are eating haram. You say, oh, when you ask some people, especially our people back home, oh, I'm accumulating for my children. Oh, I don't want my children to suffer after I'm dead. As far as I'm concerned, that can even lead to shirk, because you don't know the future. The Gaib is only Allah that knows the Gaib. You cannot, you yourself, that you are where you are today, as far as I'm concerned, it's not your father that prepared for you. This wealth, if a wealth is given, Allah does not join two people in a wealth. A lot of people are making this mistake. Oh, my father, Bill Gates today, if Bill Gates died today, it's not a guarantee that his child or his children will become millionaire, they will be the next millionaire. The money may disappear because the wealth is to Bill Gates, not his children, not his wife. Yes, everybody have his own. The child may be richer than Bill Gates. The wife may be richer than Bill Gates. But the wealth of Bill Gates today, Allah has blessed Bill Gates with that wealth, and it is for him. It is 99% sure that if he died, anything can happen. We shouldn't be surprised. So, yes, Brother Nasser, I'm coming. So from 40, you should be able to now look at it. Listen, you are 40. Let's assume Allah give you the opportunity to live 80 years, 90 years, 100 years. Allah has blessed you that you are going to live 100 years. Sincerely speaking, from the age of 60, what else do you want in this dunya that will suit you? Car. Do you care if somebody even give you Ferrari or Maybach? You don't need that anymore. House. You don't even need, probably at that age, you may even be relocating yourself to the porch. You may not even be able to climb up. You can't even go upstairs anymore. I will give you an example. I don't want to mention it, but the former president of Nigeria, President General Ibrahim Babangida, when you see him now, he's there in his house, in multi-billion naira house. No children, all the children have gone, everybody. He's even looking for who will come and stay with him. Nobody. We have former Minister of Finance, richest man, one of the richest government officials. Right now, I was told he can't even go upstairs. He sleep in the parlor. So what do you need the money for at that time? The kids are already in school. What do you need a woman for? So it will become that all those things are no longer important to you. You don't need them. What is important to you is what you are going to face, your Lord Almighty. What do you explain to Allah? The Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said to us that Allah will ask every son of Adam 5 questions. 5 questions. You will answer 5 questions before Allah, all son of Adam. 1, your life. What did you use it for? 2, your youth. How did you utilize your youth age? 3, your wealth. How did you acquire it and how did you spend it? 4, your knowledge, your education. How did you acquire the knowledge and how do you share the knowledge? And the 5th one, I think it escaped me. So Allah will ask you this. How do you explain to Allah the life you live? If because He bless you, and then you left, you are in so many things that now you have no answer to them. And that's why I keep saying, once we cross this age, start preparing yourself or solidify your relationship with Allah. Children, Allah will take care of them. I am not a party of, oh, people will say, oh, when you die now, will you be happy to hear children suffering? You know, I will not even know my children. I have no relationship with my children anymore. I'm gone. Because even al Yawm al-Qiyamah, except if we are blessed to meet in Al-Jannah. Al Yawm al-Qiyamah. Yes, Imam.
Can I say something? Can I say something? It's because I think, let me tell you something that happened with me about 3 weeks ago. I gave a khutbah in a mosque in Stamford, Connecticut, and one man came to me and said, my daughter is a high school student, and they asked her about why does Islam ask to cut the hand of the thief? And she doesn't know how to answer. I asked many people, they couldn't answer. I said, let me think about it. Really, a lot of thought about it and what have you. And I said, I'm going to send her a video. I registered myself as a video. When I read it to my wife, she was recording. She said, you're not talking to the United Nations here. You're talking to children. So use your language a little bit less so that you can contact them. So what I did was this, and it came to me. I never thought about it. The cutting of the hand has some requirements that you live in a Muslim society, which guarantees you clothing and food, guarantees you a place over your head, a house, guarantees you equal opportunities for education. You have a town that has high school better than other towns, and finally guarantees you a health system that takes care of you in time of health and in times of sickness and illness. When you live in a situation like this, if you steal, your hand should be physically cut because you have no reason to steal. Now, when you live if you live in a country that has one person who is homeless, it does not apply. Because Imam Ali said, كاد الجوع أن يكون كفرا. He said hunger could be kufr. So this being said, when you want to apply the rules of riba and everything, it's in a Muslim society. And look at the Islamic world, look at the Islamic countries. Sri Lanka doesn't have people that, I went to Hajj, I saw people begging in the streets. When you have something like that, you cannot cut the hand of the people who, and some people said, oh, the hand refers to power. I said, don't play games with God. He said, cut the hand physically, yeah, but it has conditions. It has conditions. So actually, what you have to do is minimize the spiritual harm, and then compensate this spiritual harm, which compensate your liabilities with assets. And everybody has their own conscience, their own understanding. We can't play games with the IRS and hire a lawyer that will help you not pay tax. No, with God, you don't need a lawyer. Your conscience is there. So let's do the best we can. Everybody has a different situation. Somebody tells me they did this, they did that. I said, don't judge. We cannot judge. When you judge, you're competing with God. God doesn't like it. When you see somebody do bad, say, may God curse him. If you say that, then he will do more harm. You say, may God guide him. May God show him the right path so that he can or she can behave better. This is the mercy in our heart. This is Islam, is feeling with the others, with the poor, with the sick, even with the kuffar. You know, God said the kafir is a deen. It's a religion. قُلْ يَا أَيُّهَا الْكَافِرُونَ لَكُمْ دِينُكُمْ وَلِيَ دِينِ. But then it says, Inna din and Allah al-Islam. So if we understand our religion, we have kindness and we have mercy in our heart. And we don't look for any intention to abuse people, to exploit them, to steal their wealth, to envy them. If everybody is like this, you have a good society. Your community will not change until every person in the community changes. Well, let's work within ourselves and change for the best, given the situation we are in. As simple as that. You have to pray, and there is a fire. You think you continue your prayer? You stop your prayer, and you call the fire department. There are all the situations where you have to use your best judgment. God gave us a mind to use. يعقلون يتفكرون. It's not only blind obedience. No, it is blind faith, yes. But performance has to be really thought about. And that's all I can say.
Thank you. Thank you, Brother Nasser.
Common sense is the essence of Islam.
Nah. Brother Nasser, Bismillah.
Yeah, thank you. Assalamu alaikum. I just a bit on the issue around the riba and the issues around interest. And my take on this is that I mean, when it comes to interest and loans and everything, these are things. We're in a very complex and capitalistic society, and we do not as much have any influence on some of these things, like the credit card, your mortgage loan, and all the rest. So so for me, I do not. I stand to be corrected by the imams, but I do not see you paying your mortgage and then having to pay interest really being something you will be punished for. But on the flip side, if you were the one conducting the transaction and you have control over whether you need to put interest on whatever transaction you're engaging with somebody. Maybe, okay, you're talking of taking, maybe you are the one that even owns the property, and it becomes the onus is on you, and you have the control over it. My feeling is that if it's something you have control over, and yet you disregard and still went ahead and collected interest and all the rest. So I'm looking at it from both sides, where we have influence and where we do not have influence. Where we have influence, we can control that. For example, if you can purchase your house without using the mortgage, I think that will make more sense. But like we discussed, it's not possible in the current situation. So we have no control over that. But if it is something you have control over, and yet you still did not abide by by Allah's decree regarding this issue, then that's why I think we are at fault. Thank you.
Very well said, Dr. Yusuf. Very
True.
well.
True. You're right. I share the same view with you. True. Well, I can see that we're almost there.
I want to back Dr. Yusuf. Somebody came to me and said, my son was playing in school and he fell and he broke his arm. And they want to tell me I should sue the Board of Education and get some money. That's the situation. I said, in Islam, it's intentions that count. Did the school intend for your son to fall and to break his hand? He said, no. I said, you don't sue them because the money you get is a money haram. Go ahead and take care of it yourself. So this applies to what Dr. Yusuf said in principle and theory, that in practice, that's what you do. You do not. When you control it, then you have no reason to do it. Yes. When you can't control it, you have no choice.
You have no choice. You have no choice. Hakika. Wa alaikum salam.
That really reminds me of what used to happen these loan sharks previously. Like there'll be a cloth that someone wants to buy from someone, and then they will sell you the cloth at so amount of money, and then because they know that you are looking for cash, so they'll buy it buy it back at a discounted rate. So it's a way of trying to make you to buy something, let's say at $100, but then when they are giving you the cash, they'll give you either $80 or something even less than that, because they know that you are critically in the situation looking for money, which is a way of riba, but not trying to just squeeze people out of their money as fast as possible. Not what
when they want to pay you cash, it's not riba. They are trying to avoid paying taxes. Because this is money go to your bank account.
Thank you so much. At this time, I think Imam Karim, I will, as usual, request you to give us a closing prayer, and if possible, please include Imam Shamsu Ali in your prayers. We pray for him to recover well. May Allah give him health.
Okay. اللهم تقبل دعاءنا واشف مرضانا وارحم موتانا واهلك اعداءنا ولا تخيب فيك رجاءنا واختم بالباقيات الصالحات اعمالنا. اللهم بلغنا مما يرضيك امالنا. اللهم ول امورنا خيارنا. اللهم لا تولي امورنا شرارنا. اللهم ارفع مقتك وغضبك عنا ولا تؤاخذنا بما فعلنا ولا تؤاخذنا بما فعل السفهاء منا ولا تسلط علينا بذنوبنا من لا يخافك ولا يخشاك ولا يرحمنا يا ارحم الراحمين. ونسالك برحمتك ان تاخذ بيد اخينا امام شمس علي وان يشفى بسرعه النور يا رب العالمين. يا رب العالمين اشفه يا رب العالمين يا شافي يا معافي. اللهم تقبل صيامنا. اللهم تقبل قيامنا. اللهم تقبل صلاتنا. اللهم تقبل ركوعنا. اللهم تقبل سجودنا. اللهم تقبل خشوعنا. اللهم تقبل دعاءنا. اللهم أعنا على صوم ما تبقى من شهر رمضان. اللهم اجعلنا من عتقاء شهر رمضان الفائزين المقبولين الأبرار. وتقبل يا كريم بسر سورة الفاتحة. بسم الله.
يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين. شكرا جزيلا.
والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته. I wish everybody a happy Eid, happy end of Ramadan. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept our dua. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept our deed. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala continue to unite the Muslim Ummah and allow us to be enjoying this beautiful ibadah of sharing knowledge in this place. Assalamu alaikum.
May he also give us good leaders.
Ameen. Ameen.
Ameen. Ameen. Ameen.
Especially in Nigeria now, election is at the corner.
Have mercy over people and are independent from any foreign influence.
Ameen. 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 Shukran. Shukran.
Assalamu
Assalamu alaikum, everybody.
Salam.
Wa alaikum assalam wa barakatuh. Assalamu alaikum.